Thomas Hobbes, Marshall Missner, editor, Crawford Brough Macpherson, editor, Introduction, Leviathan. Dive into the world of Leviathan, a groundbreaking work by Thomas Hobbes that delves into the complexities of human nature, power, and governance. Hobbes examines the ways in which our senses help us understand our environment and provides a framework for human reasoning. Unveiling the significance of language and logical sequencing, this book challenges us to consider our natural desire for power and control. As you delve into this summary, you'll explore topics ranging from the foundations of social contracts and the importance of a strong, sovereign ruler, to the best forms of governance and the proper basis for laws.
The power of language. Language is crucial for understanding our world. It helps us to reason and put together patterns. Our senses work by being triggered by physical objects, and the words we use to describe our experiences are essential for accurate communication. The sequencing of words allows us to create patterns that help us determine cause and effect. By understanding correlations, we can predict outcomes and take actions to produce particular results. Power, desire, and conflict. Language and cause and effect thinking give birth to desire, which drives humans to seek power. The resulting competition for power creates a cycle of violence and fear, leading to a constant state of war. Our ability to understand cause and effect through language gives rise to the concept of desire, which ultimately drives human behavior. Desire is the fundamental motivation behind all human striving, and it is based on a basic need for power. Power can be understood as a person's ability to acquire something they want, which can be natural or instrumental, like money, reputation, or an influential network. However, the desire for power creates intense rivalries, inevitably leading to competition and, ultimately, conflict. When two people desire the same thing, competition is natural, and the fear of losing is acute on both sides. This sense of equality is based on the combination of our natural and instrumental powers, meaning that any person could potentially defeat another, even one who is physically stronger, through deceit or alliance. This perpetual competition for power leads to a constant state of war, as everyone is both a potential ally and a potential enemy. The resulting cycle of violence and fear is the biggest threat to human society, and it is not easy to avoid. Yet, a better understanding of the driving forces behind human behavior could lead to strategies that diminish the need for power and the resulting conflict, ultimately creating a more peaceful and just world. The social contract. Society can easily fall into perpetual conflict, but it is possible to maintain peace through a social contract. This contract requires individuals to give up the right to harm others to ensure their own safety. Trust is crucial, as each person must trust that their neighbors will do the same. Any departure from this covenant is unjust and can lead to chaos. To keep the social fabric intact, each individual must abide by the social contract and fit in with the norms of society. Homogeneity reduces suspicion and fear, allowing for a fair and functional society. Leviathan, the sovereign body. Everyone must surrender some rights to a strong sovereign force for the entire society to feel secure. The Leviathan is not necessarily a despotic or omnipotent ruler but rather a single body composed of every individual in the society. It is the head while the rest of the body is composed of ministers and militia. As such, the power of the Leviathan cannot be divided. The Commonwealth, which is vital to keeping the Leviathan functioning, performs essential functions and nourishes the society. As people will only surrender their freedom to a secure power, a Leviathan with the strength of all individuals can adequately fill this role. The best form of government. The three basic forms of government are aristocracy, democracy, and monarchy. While other terms like oligarchy or totalitarianism exist, they are not distinct forms but simply other names for the three basic governments. A government with an elected monarch called a president is a form of democracy, and a government in which a governor is appointed by a monarch functions essentially as a monarchy. Monarchy is the best form of government since a monarch can easily make decisions, act with consistency, and maintain the social contract, deterring conflict. Additionally, succession is easier in a monarchy since only one person needs to name a successor, reducing the risk of argument or conflict that could lead to war. Upholding peace through force. A monarch preserves peace in the commonwealth by maintaining the sole right to administer punishment. This is because agreements based solely on words are often ineffective, and it's only the fear of punishment that will prevent people from breaking the rules of the commonwealth. Members of a commonwealth using force when and how they want it, fighting each other for personal gain, leads to the collapse of the social contract. Thus, it's crucial that a monarch safeguards the right to use force. The Leviathan can authorize others under his rule, such as the military, police, and judges, to enforce the law and uphold the social contract. Although there are limits, an individual cannot be made to hurt himself, as it would violate the right of self-preservation. Laws and punishments should be created by the sovereign, but enforcing the law should fall to individuals who can maintain order and uphold the social contract daily. Ultimately, an individual's fear of punishment is the most effective in ensuring that the social contract is upheld, which leads to the preservation of peace in the commonwealth. The paradox of freedom. The idea that a strong sovereign ruler restricts the freedom of citizens is a paradox. The natural state of life is short, lonely, and plagued by fear. Freedom is the ability to act without hindrance or fear, which is absent in this natural state. The establishment of a commonwealth, with a sovereign ruler, leads to a more significant degree of freedom. Before the Commonwealth of England was established, people were in a constant battle to maintain their rights to their land, restricting their freedom. Democracies, such as Athens and the Roman Empire, brought chaos instead of freedom. The laws of a commonwealth are not a hindrance but are an agreement upon which individuals consent, ensuring freedom. This summary presents the idea that the presence of a sovereign ruler who protects its citizens leads to more freedom than in a society without one. Sovereignty and the role of God. In a commonwealth, a lack of centralized control can lead to family discord and civil war. Therefore, the rule of the sovereign should extend to all matters, including faith and doctrine. Even the power of God should not challenge the Leviathan's power. While God's kingdom exists after life on earth, it does not stand in opposition to the sovereign's kingdom. Society should have only one set of rules to uphold its social contract and maintain stability. Despite the existence of the kingdom of God, it's impossible to say that God intervenes in the natural world in any way. The basis for civil laws. The book's summary discusses how the laws that govern a commonwealth should be constructed. Hobbes believed that laws should derive from our senses and not from religion or philosophy, as religion and philosophy were based on incorrect definitions of words. He argued that laws based on ideas concerning evil forces or a kingdom of darkness such as those espoused by the Church were faulty and superstitions. Therefore, he posited that the only viable philosophies for constructing laws were those based on the actual, physical workings of the world. People shouldn't be prosecuted for practicing witchcraft, but punished instead for spreading the idea that witches exist at all. In essence, an individual takes part in a commonwealth based on his logical understanding of cause and effect gained through his physical experience of the world as interpreted through his senses, and the laws that govern the commonwealth should be based on the same understanding.
In conclusion, Leviathan illustrates the intricate mechanisms through which society can function, arguing that a powerful, sovereign ruler is necessary for order and stability. Hobbes believes that individuals must mutually surrender some of their rights under a social contract to uphold peace and justice in their society. A monarch, acting as the head of the commonwealth, must maintain a monopoly on force to prevent the descent into chaos. The best form of government, according to Hobbes, is a monarchy, which ensures consistency and reduces the risk of internal strife. Furthermore, civil laws should be founded on our understanding of the physical world rather than religious beliefs. Ultimately, Leviathan provides an insightful analysis of human nature, governance, and the complex inner workings of society.